What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Dose Media Network YouTube channel. In today's video, I will be going over the best plays at each position on DraftKings for the Week 12 NFL DFS slate. So without further ado, let's talk about the quarterback position. Geno Smith looks like he is going to be the highest owned quarterback on this Week 12 slate, and at 6K, I mean, Geno is fairly underpriced for how well he's been playing. Front runner for comeback player of the year for sure. And this game environment is just one of the best on the slate. This game currently has a 47.5 total, which is the second highest total on the main slate, just behind the Chargers and Cardinals game. Las Vegas has been one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. And then when you're comparing Geno Smith to the rest of the quarterback pool, he's really not competing with much. You have Mahomes in a potential blowout spot against the Rams at home. You have Justin Fields, who's a little banged up. Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray have underperformed this year. And with the amount of good plays on this slate that you want to jam in, I think playing Geno Smith at 6K looks really, really strong right now. Mahomes, obviously, 8,200 is a fantastic play. 4 straight games with 30 plus DraftKings points. As you could see on the screen, one of the highest implied team totals on the slate. Obviously, you have some blowout risk with Patrick Mahomes, but nonetheless, he's still one of the best overall plays on the slate. I don't think it's really necessary to go there. 2,200 from Geno to Patrick Mahomes is a lot, and there are some other plays at the other positions that I kind of want to jam in. So my lean right now is playing Geno Smith over Patrick Mahomes on this Week 12 slate in cash games. And if you like this style of content, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 600 subscribers. We put out DraftKings content, Prize Picks content, and if you want to leave a comment and tell us what you want to see from us moving forward, we'd like that as well. We appreciate everybody who supports us. Now back to the video. Moving on to the running back position. God, I mean, injuries have just opened up this slate completely. You have Jeff Wilson at 5,900, who I believe if you're not playing Jeff Wilson this week, you are making a clear-cut mistake. Jeff Wilson is by far the best running back play on the slate. He's projecting as one of the best values of the entire season at home against the worst run defense in the NFL. Raheem Mostert is out of this game, so Jeff Wilson should see a ton of opportunity. He's been playing really, really well. The Dolphins have one of the highest implied team totals on the slate. You have to play Jeff Wilson in your cash game lineups tomorrow. Some other cheap running backs that got opened up because of injury. We have Samaje Perine at 5,600. Joe Mixon is out of this game with a concussion. Jamar Chase is also out of this game with his hip injury that he's still dealing with. So Samaje Perine, 5,600, is coming into more opportunity. I will note Chris Evans is back from an injury, so Chris Evans should factor in past games. Samaje Perine isn't my favorite play of these cheap running backs, but he's definitely in consideration. Then we have Rachaad White at 5,100. Leonard Fournette has been ruled out for this game against the Browns. The Browns have one of the worst run defenses in the league from an efficiency standpoint. Rachaad White hasn't been super efficient on his touches, but he is coming into some prime opportunity, and only 5,100. I mean, you're locking in Rachaad White on this Week 12 slate. You're locking in Jeff Wilson, and you're not thinking twice about it. I think Latavius Murray is also in play at 5K. Chase Edmonds is dealing with an ankle injury. They waived Melvin Gordon, so Latavius Murray is only competing with Mike Boone, potentially, if he's able to return from IR, Devin Azigbo, and Marlon Mack. And it's a good spot for Latavius Murray going up against the Carolina Panthers run defense, who have given up over 160 rushing yards per game over their last 3 games. But this Broncos team is just a team that I want to fade in general in DraftKings, so I'm not going to be playing Latavius Murray. There's just a ton of downside with this Broncos offense. And then if you look at Latavius's game logs, I mean, God, you're going to get 3 yards per carry out of him, and you need him to score a touchdown on the worst offense in the NFL by far. So Latavius Murray is in play. He's projecting okay right now, but at 5K, I'm fading Latavius for Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson. If we take a look at some of the running backs at the top of the pool, I mean, Kenneth Walker definitely stands out at 6,900. Just a smash spot for the Seahawks offense in general. Kenneth Walker has been one of the best fantasy running backs since Rashad Penny left the season with an injury, and obviously it's a little pricey, but I think you get a ton of upside out of Kenneth Walker in cash games. I don't know if you lock him in with Geno Smith. I personally would not do that, but I had to mention Kenneth Walker. He is a standout play. James Conner, 6,600, also looks to be a very, very good play in the highest total game on the slate. No Rondale Moore, no Greg Dortch, most likely. Hollywood Brown is going to be limited. So James Conner is probably going to be a 100% or a 90+% snap player with a ton of opportunity, a ton of upside in the receiving game, touchdown upside. And at 6,600, he's one of the best plays on the slate. So this is just a slate where there's a ton of running back value, and you're going to want to build 3 running back lineups. I think Jeff Wilson and Rachaad White are locked in to 2 of your running back spots. And then depending on your lineup construction, you can go James Conner, Kenneth Walker, or cheap with Samaje Perine, Latavius Murray, etc. But those are the only running backs I would consider for cash games on week 12. Moving on to the wide receiver position, I think T. Higgins is a standout play this week at 6,900. When I was talking about Samaje Perine, I mentioned Jamar Chase had just been ruled out of this game with an injury, and with Joe Mixon out as well and no Chase, this offense is going to flow through Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. And T. Higgins had one of his best games of the season last week against Pittsburgh. You get another good spot with T. Higgins here, going up against a Titans pass defense that is one of the worst in the NFL, and they also have one of the best rush defenses in the NFL, only giving up one 100-yard rushing game to opposing running backs. So this is going to be a game where the Bengals are going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to put the game in Joe Burrow's hands. T. Higgins at 6,900 with no Jamar Chase is a target hog, and I think he's just underpriced for his current role without Chase. So T. Higgins, 6,900 is a fantastic play. DeAndre Hopkins, 7,700, kind of the same argument for James Conner. The Cardinals are just down a ton of bodies in this game, and since DeAndre Hopkins has came back from his suspension, as you could see on the screen, just an absolute target menace, 12 plus targets in 4 out of the 5 games since he's returned from suspension. 7,700. I think he's just underpriced for his role on this Cardinals team. And then when you talk about no Greg Dortch, no Rondale Moore, most likely, I mean, targets should just condense in on DeAndre Hopkins and James Conner. So DeAndre Hopkins, 7,700 is projecting as one of the best plays on the entire slate. I think if we're looking at a cheap guy, it's probably Garrett Wilson at 4,300. The Jets finally benched Zach Wilson, one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. They're going to Mike White as their starter, and there's obviously a lot of uncertainty around the Jets quarterback situation, but that's a situation where you can potentially capitalize on. If we expect Mike White to be an upgrade over Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson at 4,300 in a good matchup against this Bears passing defense at home, I think is a very, very good value play at 4,300. I mean, we know he's capable of getting big target games, and, with no Breece Hall there anymore and Michael Carter kind of being underwhelming and James Robinson is total dust, the Jets might be pushed into passing a little bit more, and Mike White is definitely an upgrade at this point on Zach Wilson in terms of what he could provide in the passing game. So Garrett Wilson, 4,300 is a standout play to me. I think if we're looking to the mid-range, Keenan Allen, 6,100 is very, very good. 8 targets in limited action against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now you put him in this game environment, which is the best on the slate from a total perspective. No Mike Williams. The tight ends are still missing. Keenan Allen is primed for a ton of opportunity on this week 12 slate. So Keenan Allen, 6,100. I think he's relatively underpriced. You still have Chris Godwin, who's cheap. Chris Godwin has caught 6+ passes in 6 straight games. Just ultra consistent. Upside has been very, very low, though. Tyler Lockett, 6,200 is a good play, in my opinion. Once again, I think in cash, you're probably playing 3 out of DeAndre Hopkins, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, or or Josh Palmer. If you want to get a little bit cheaper, Josh Palmer is 5,400. Same arguments for Keenan Allen can be said for Josh Palmer. No Mike Williams, best game environment on the slate. he's definitely in consideration. Moving on to the tight end position, there's not much that I really love in terms of cheap tight ends. I think Trey McBride is a little interesting at 3,100, and I would be willing to go there if Kyler Murray is able to get back for this game, which it's looking like he will be available. So Trey McBride at 3,100 is definitely interesting. He's going to be out there running a ton of routes, 4 targets last week with Colt McCoy. So I don't mind that. Obviously, it doesn't feel good, especially with some of the elite tight ends that we have on the slate. We have all 3 on the main slate for the first time in what feels like forever. And Travis Kelce is projecting to be the highest owned tight end on this slate. And, you can get your exposure to Patrick Mahomes through Travis Kelce on the slate if you fade Mahomes and cash. And there's a ton of value to be able to make this work. So Kelce at 7,700 looks very, very good. Mark Andrews at 6,500. I would like to say that you can get a lot of production out of Mark Andrews that you can get out of Travis Kelce, but for 1,200 cheaper. Mark Andrews finished as the tight end 1 overall last year above Travis Kelce. And prior to injury, Travis Kelce was having a monster season, and he's been working his way back, and this is a good spot against Jacksonville. So my lean between the two would be Mark Andrews just for the salary discount. You get 1,200, but you're getting the same upside, the same ceiling, in my opinion, both elite tight ends in the NFL. So for cash games, I think Mark Andrews is a phenomenal play. But if you're not comfortable paying up the tight end, I think Foster Moreau or David Njoku stands out to me currently. We'll have to wait and see about the weather in Cleveland. Supposedly there's supposed to be a ton of high winds and, a ton of bad weather. So we'll see what happens there. Make sure you tune into the Saturday night live stream to hear our updated thoughts. That comes out at 10 o'clock tonight. Foster Moreau, though, 3,400 would probably be the pay down tight end, even though the floor is so low. The game environment is one of the best. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller still on IR. So Foster Moreau, 3,400 is one of the best plays on this slate. That is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video if you want to see more DFS content, and make sure you tune into the Saturday night live stream at 10 o'clock tonight. I will see you guys next week. Peace.